Hello, I'm Anna Wilds, the franchise economist, and welcome to today's topic of seasonal franchises. These are businesses that have slow or no business during part of the year. Examples include tax preparation services, mosquito control services, pool cleaning services, and holiday lighting. Pay attention to when these businesses gear up. It's in November that tax preparers are starting to be hired. A mosquito business will start up based on the local climate. For example, are you in Minnesota or Georgia? And remember that pools need winterizing, so it's more than a season, it's more than just a summer business. The people who are attracted to these are typically investment minded people who want to grow a side business while keeping their full time job, active retirees longing for a sense of purpose and supplemental income, and people and families who really value work life balance. To learn more about seasonal franchises, contact me, Anna Wilds, the franchise economist. Okay, fantastic. What an interesting part of the franchise industry. Now let's have a great discussion about this. Just type your questions into the comments section and I'll gladly address them. I always get asked are two things related to money. One is how much money does it take to get into one of these businesses and how much money can I make with one of these businesses? So let's tackle the first question first. How much money do you need? What I'm going to give you is, because there's so many seasonal franchises, is the starting point for minimum financial qualifications. So what someone needs is at a minimum $60,000 to $75,000 liquid, that is of your own money that's non-borrowed. So $60,000 to $75,000 and a net worth of about $200,000. That's a really good starting point to start looking at some of these seasonal franchises. Now, the second question is, how much money can I make with a seasonal franchise? And again, because there are just, so many franchises and we're talking essentially affected by the climate, like if someone is in the Midwest or the Northwest or the Northeast anyway, where there's a lot of snow and ice and inclement weather during the winter seasons and even fall and early spring. It's going to depend how long you're open and of course the type of business and what your local market will bear. And that will be different than if you're in Florida or Texas or Arizona. So I know that's not especially helpful. So this is what I'll do is I'm going to help you with the process of finding out how much money you can make with any franchise, seasonal or not. The best way to do that is to talk to current existing franchisees and ask them a series of questions. Things like, how long did it take you to break even? What is the length of time it took? And what was the sales volume that was required for you to break even? Then other questions would be, what would be a realistic first year revenue, second year revenue, and third year revenue? And you should see it go up each year as the business grows and gains more market share. And then, of course, you'll ask the current franchisees about their operating expenses and what are they? And so this information will help you gather on your own the financial information that you need to decide if you want to move forward with a franchise investment and if it will yield the financial returns that you're looking for. So the quick answer is talk to individual franchisees. And I will, if you want to work with me, I'll work with you and help you get to that point where you know enough about the business that you're interested in or that fits your criteria, and then how to get a hold of franchisees. All right, so it's probably daunting if you've never done this before, but luckily for me, this is my 20th year as a franchise advisor, and I can do this with my eyes closed and one hand tied behind my back. So I'm happy to be a great resource to you there. All right, let's see what other questions we have. Can you give examples of other seasonal businesses? Well, there is a variety, but it's not, massive. There are 4,500 different types of franchises, and I can just give you a handful of ideas for seasonal type businesses. Now, some of this will depend on your local climate. Again, if you're in Minnesota where they have feet of snow for several months a year, you're going to have a shorter period if the business works during warm weather, okay, than if you're in Florida or lower California. Okay, so let's look at some examples. Anything that involves outdoor work on a structure, or say a home. If you're a homeowner, you're going to need things like roofing repair and gutter work and painting and pressure washing. Those type things are going to be affected by the weather. And according to a paint franchisor that I talked to yesterday, when there's 48 hours of 40-degree weather, that's when painting needs to go interior, not exterior. So there really are some slow times for painting business, and it's usually during the holidays, like from Thanksgiving through New Year's. I mean, nobody wants you painting in the interior of their home when they're about to have family over for a big dinner, and they're going to be entertaining. But other than that, if you're in a more temperate climate, like the Southwest, Southeast, you may be able to have just about a year-round business, but then have the holidays off, which is really nice. Up in colder climates, it'll be shortened by the temperature. So once it hits 40 degrees for 48 hours in a row, painting can't be done on the exterior. Okay, let's see. There are also mosquito control franchises. Clearly, they'll be busy in the summer, spring, and I'm in Georgia. We need them in the fall too. They're mosquitoes here in November because of our temperate climate. And so again, that one's going to be heavily dependent on where you live, how long the season is. Other kind of the classic seasonal franchise to me, as we're all getting ready for our taxes to be filed April 15th, are tax preparation businesses. Those are clearly not year-round businesses, but when they start, though, is kind of interesting. Tax preparers start to be hired around November. So that's like about 5 to 6 months before, the heavy tax season of, March, April. Okay, and I know you can think of several tax preparation franchises, H&R Block, Jackson Hewitt, Liberty Tax. I mean, there are quite a few. Now, one thing I do want to point out is the role of the owner of these franchises is not, for example, with a tax preparation one, you don't fill out tax returns. You don't need to be an accountant or even like accounting. The role of the owner for most of these seasonal franchises is to execute the marketing strategy for the business and work on gaining customers. Okay, you hear that? It's not working in the business, it's working on the business. And the main role of the owner is going to be in client acquisition, and that's through networking in your local community and executing the marketing plan for the business to make people aware of the service that you're providing. Okay, so you're not working as someone who sprays the bug spray for mosquito control. You're not preparing taxes, you're not painting houses. The owner will hire employees or 1099 workers to actually do that kind of work, okay? Okay, a really good question that I always get about seasonal franchises is this: what about employees? Don't people want to work year-round? Don't they want full-time jobs? How do you get people to work in a seasonal business? Well, excellent question. I have some favorite labor pools for just recommend to people who are looking for seasonal workers. One are college students. They have summers off and they have the holiday season off for several weeks. Another are retirees, people who are looking for just some supplemental income, but they don't want stress and they really aren't looking for a lot of responsibility. So retirees make an excellent labor for seasonal workers. Another are veterans, people who've retired. They're just looking for, again, like other retirees, just looking for some supplemental income. They're not looking for stress or a lot of responsibility. They're just wanting something to keep them a little busy and add some supplemental cash flow. Then another group are people who just love to work outdoors. I didn't mention that earlier, but there are plenty of people who do not want to sit in an office, sit behind a desk, look at a computer screen. They are looking for people. They really want to, be out and about in the outdoors and not behind a desk. So those are also another good group of people to consider for a seasonal franchise. Okay, so hope that opens some eyes. And also you got to realize that the franchisor and fellow franchisees will also share best practices with you on how to gain workers. Okay, so it's not like you're trying to figure this out all on your own. Okay, last question is, if you want to learn more, what is the next step? I just encourage you to go to our website, howtoselectfranchises.com, or contact me directly by phoning or texting. My number is 706-736-0579. Thank you so much for joining us today, and come back next week because we're going to be talking about resale franchises. I'm Anna Wilds, the franchise economist. See you next week.